All right, good morning. Welcome to another video. So this is going to be the first stage of trying to get the engine bay prepped for the motor to go in. We have been working on the block, and that's right there, but we've reached a stopping point with that. So plan is to try to work on this a little bit until parts come in for that. That way we're making the best of our time. So the first thing that we're going to do with the engine bay is, it's already been painted, but I want to touch up the undercarriage a little bit. It's got some spots that are missing, some undercoating. So I've got some undercoating spray right here, nothing too fancy. Just picked it up from, I think, Lowe's. Painter's tape and some plastic. What we're going to do is we're going to jack the car up as high as we can get it, tape off anything we don't want overspray on, and then get the super out of here, and then spray a little bit of undercoating. Another thing we're going to do too is alongside the bottom of the car, when I was taking out the under tray, there were some nuts that snapped because it was just a little bit rusty or whatever. So I got these stainless steel rivet nuts. Again, these are M6x1. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill out the hole, take the rivet nut, and again, you got to make sure you got the rivet nut tool, which you can pick one of these up from Amazon. Kind of looks like a looks like that. Now keep in mind, when you use these, you need to have enough space behind it to actually use this tool. So that's why we're going to have to jack up the car really, really high. We'll probably end up using this again. One of the other things we're going to do is we're going to try to do a custom bracket right here. So if you look in the engine bay, there's supposed to be a battery tray right here, and I had them go ahead and remove it because it was pretty rusted. Concept Z makes one. I was going to buy it, but I think I'm going to take a crack at making my own out of aluminum. I have a sheet of aluminum. I just got to measure it out. I'll take a cardboard template, cut it out, put it to where it looks like it makes sense, and then I was going to try to use this rivet gun to put the rivets in it where it bolts and make it bolt in there, but as you can see, it's not going to fit. Right? I could probably get one here. I don't think I'd be able to get one here because this rivet gun tool is so long. So I don't know what we'll do. We'll figure something out. Last but not least, let me show you the paint job on the engine bay. So I would say it's not the best paint in the world, but it'll do. It definitely looks a lot better than it did before. Again, painting is one of those things that I'm not great at doing, so I usually just pay somebody to do. I went ahead and let them paint over this because I wasn't too worried about that. But yeah, overall, I think it's pretty good. We just got to touch up a few spots and then put every single nut bolt clip back in, which will be a lot of fun. And Jonah's behind the camera. So I just want to point out a few things. What we're trying to do here is basically I just want to fill these little pieces in. I don't know why there's like missing spots. I think maybe that's something that's done from the factory, but I want to make sure this stuff is protected and just make it look a little bit better. As we kind of dig deeper into this, so I had them, weld up where the rust was. They didn't really, they did an okay job of getting rid of the tray and the rust, but behind it they didn't. They just burned holes in this thing right here, and they didn't protect it from behind. So I'm gonna use that undercoating and spray some right there too, and then right here too where this brake block goes. It's also missing painting right here, so I'm just gonna, nothing too fancy. Again, this is like, at some point you got to stop dumping money into the car, I think, and just get it done. And I've kind of reached that point with this car. So we'll spray those. All right, let's go check out the other side, Joe. Same thing here. I'm just going to touch this up, and then I'm going to cover that up with coating too. I'll probably, there's like a little spot, I don't know if it's from the factory or what it is. we'll clean that up. And then if you can follow me down here, Joe. So here's what the tunnel looks like. Again, you know, the paint job's kind of meh. I kind of wanted them to paint all up in here too, but you know, I guess what you pay for is what you get. But I'm gonna, you know, kind of blend in some undercoating here. You can see our frame rails are pretty trashed. You know, they definitely need some work, but for right now, just to get going again, I'm just gonna re-undercoat them one day, and also gonna fill in all those spots too. Maybe one day we can get a proper full paint job. You know, strip every bit off of this car, put it on a rotisserie, all that. So, lay down the paint. It doesn't look too bad. You know, looks a little bit better. One thing I forgot to show you was that we put little plugs in where the screws go to keep paint from getting in there. If you don't have one of these already, definitely highly recommend vacuum cap assortment, so you have all these different size vacuum caps for anything that you need. So use those to plug up the holes, right? Come check out this side. Also, another thing that we did was we use a cardboard right here, and I had Joe basically hold the cardboard up, like you can kind of see this cardboard's right here, to keep the overspray from getting all over the place, right? So not a perfect job, but it looks better than it did before. Again, using the vacuum plugs to plug the holes, so that way our holes are still nice and usable, right? You see that? Boop, you just pull it out, and now you got a nice clean hole. The bad thing is you gotta throw those away when you're done with them. So here you can see we got that nice and coated too. And then let's show them the engine bay real quick, Joe.
I'm not sure I understand.
Can you like shine it, maybe? I don't know if you can shine it. Maybe you can shine it. Can you see that pretty good?
Yeah.
So we recoated the underside, really just covering up how terrible it looks. But at least now in our minds it looks better. As you can see, this is a broken nut, and this whole thing was pretty rusted. They fixed it a little bit and painted it for me, so it looks better than it did before. So. Okay, first step is use a punch. Try to make a nice little dimple for your drill to make a hole so it's not walking all over the place. I feel like this might work better if we started with a smaller drill bit, but we'll give this a go. Okay, now that we got our holes drilled, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up. I got a Dremel here. I'm going to clean up the edges a little bit because the drill, you know, doesn't leave the best marks. So I'm going to clean them up just a little bit. So first thing you do, you screw your riv nut on there, put it in the hole, Tighten this thing down. Till it's nice and tight and that thing starts spinning. Then you pump it. Then you turn it a little bit more. And then you can turn this all the way out.
Isn't this what you have to do for like wide body kits? You do a bunch of them.
And then I would recommend taking a 10 mil bolt. Or take whatever size bolt it is. I know I've got one somewhere. Here we go. And just testing her out and make sure it threads. So I got a 10 mil bolt here. Because you don't want to find out when it's time to freaking install that you did the wrong size or something crazy like that, or the threads don't start where you thought they would. So boom, there we go.
Boom.
Now we're golden.